My name is Funmi, or Funmilade, whatever you prefer to call me. I'm a UX designer and I've been a cook in the industry for 10 years now. Anxiety has played a huge role with regards to disordered eating and body image issues. And even with working in the industry where tasting and eating is technically our job, there's a lot of moments where I didn't feel comfortable tasting all day long, even though I needed to serve food that tasted good. Or if we were, trying a new dish out and everyone was gathering around for that one moment. There were moments in which I would maybe just move myself out of that situation because, again, I felt anxious that maybe I'd eating too much that day already, or I was starting to feel heavy with, let's say, eating out as well, or eating with friends, and trying to order certain things because I would worry about what people will say or read menus way ahead of time just so I knew the quote unquote healthiest thing to eat at certain places. I would find myself in a lot of situations where I'd like freeze or panic, maybe in public situations where food was the sort of main topic being discussed. Dealing with disordered eating and things like that meant that I didn't always have the safest spaces to express my love for food. But being in a restaurant or being in the industry in general just means that everybody there is down to enjoy food. And that's what the work is about, right? So it made me more relaxed and more calm. It made me want to open up more. But if I think about how that, the disordered eating affected me negatively, was initially not being able to want to eat the food that I made. Especially around maybe family or even at restaurants initially, I would go 10 hours or so and not have a proper meal or not even have a snack if I was supposed to. So at those early points, it was a bit tricky, but as time has gone on, I've definitely been able to work through that. I'd say I started experiencing symptoms as early as 13. That's when I think back to maybe skipping a lot of meals, or it's a really weird thing I used to do in high school where I'd buy like the Capri Sun packages and that's all I'd have for lunch. But then I would chew on the straw just to like trick my brain into like feeling like I was full for the day. And then maybe like saving my lunch money and never buying anything. It took me 11 years to seek help. The first time being when I was 24. What held me back from seeking help was not really understanding what was going on. I'd been aware of the symptoms and how that affected my life, work, relationships, diet, things like that. But I didn't really understand the gravity of what this meant for me and how this may affect, my family, my relationships going forward, my future and things like that. And so once I really understood that and started to reflect, that's what pushed me to, start to talk to someone. The stigma I've faced with regards to anxiety and disordered eating, I would say is not feeling like I could talk about it yet because I didn't understand if the people around me would be willing to listen or would provide the feedback that I was looking for. And even just the concept of a young Black man dealing with disordered eating, which is typically, publicized as a white female issue, was something that was tough to contend with initially. And that, I think, really held me back from speaking up. What I'd like to say to anyone who is misinformed with these challenges is you're not the first person to be misinformed. It's not always the easiest thing to understand, especially when you're dealing with it, or maybe even someone close to you is dealing with it. And to forgive yourself for sometimes not knowing, and maybe there was a time in the past you didn't know, that also deserves some compassion. But to also open up yourself to understand experiences that aren't yours. And to, I think, imagine that sometimes things happen to us that we never imagined could. And I think it really sucks when that happens, and that has to be the way that some people learn about these challenges. So just open up yourself to understand, to have space to be honest about the fact that you don't know or don't understand at that point in time, and to be patient with that process as well.